In this video, I'm going to show you how to push your baby so confidently that your birth team will actually think you've done it before. As a pelvic floor physiotherapist, I've coached more than 1,000 moms in their preparation for pushing. And what they tell me after their birth is that they felt like they knew exactly what they were doing. They felt confident. And that is without even prior pushing experience. Because here's what most people don't know. The way you push matters. Not just to get your baby out, but to protect your body from injuries like tearing and prolapse that could significantly impact your recovery. So in this video, we're going to practice 2 pushing techniques so that you can feel extra clear, extra confident walking into that birth room, but also keeping your recovery in mind. So the first technique is called closed glottis technique or Valsalva. This is the default technique that's going to be instructed to you if you don't have prior birth prep education. And unfortunately, it might not be the best one for your pelvic floor. Let's practice it. I want you to take a rolled towel and sit on it. And what we're going to do is make a closed fist with your hand, and we're going to blow in it. I don't want any air to come out of the sides of your mouth or into the fist. It should be completely blocked. And it would almost feel like, I don't know if you camp, I'm big into camping, but you know, if you're trying to inflate a camping mattress with the valve that would be closed, it should feel like this. So did you feel pressure going down on the towel? That's what it should feel like. And you should feel also your abs contracting and pushing down. Now we're going to hold it for 10 seconds because that's the instructions that they normally give in the birth room. Is you start having your contraction, they're gonna say block your breath and push for 10 seconds. So let's try it to see how it feels. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this on YouTube. I don't know what my face looked like. Was it purple? Because it's also called purple pushing, by the way, for that very reason that people's face turn really purple or red. And did you feel the pressure on your towel? You should feel that. This is the sensation you need to look for to make sure that you're pushing in the right place. If you're not feeling that, that means you need to practice so that you can direct your pressure at the right place. Because otherwise, your baby's not going to move down, right? We need to keep in mind that the whole purpose of this is to move your baby down towards the exit. So how did that feel like in your body, in your head? I don't know for you, but for me, this technique feels really exhausting. I'm almost feeling like I'm coming out of the water when I'm done, like, you know, taking a big gasp of air. I also feel like my eyes would want to almost come out of their sockets, and I feel really red. And this is a technique that I don't know if I could sustain for a very long time. And before we move on to the next technique, I wanted to let you know that I've designed a free tearing risk screener if you want to get some insight about what your risk of tearing is, and most importantly, what to do to decrease it. So I'll link it in the description below if you're interested. Moving on to our second technique, it's called open glottis. So with open glottis, we're gonna have a little bit of air coming out of our mouth as we are pushing. So I should have kept this towel there. We're going to practice that. So what you're going to do is leave a little bit of space here in your fist so that air can come out. So it should almost feel like you're inflating a balloon that would be a bit stiff, okay? And send that pressure down. If you're not feeling any pressure going down on the towel, you're not doing it right. So try to close even more that hole so that you can send pressure. The more your hole is big here, and the more I'm not pushing any baby with this. No baby's gonna come out with this. So we want to send enough pressure or resistance through our hand to be able to send some of that pressure down to move things forward with our pushing. Now that we've practiced with the fist, of course you're not going to do that during pushing because you might be on your hands and knees, you might be in different positions where your hands are needed. So we want to practice now with pursed lips, sending that same pressure down. It could be like this. It could also be grunting or moaning, because if you're making sound, it means that air is coming out of your mouth. It means you're doing open glottis. So it could be like, right? You'll feel like a wild animal in nature giving birth. And that's what it is. That's what birth should be. It doesn't need to be a quiet thing behind closed door. If you want to make sound, totally fine. But for as long as some air is coming out. But the thing with making sound is you need to remember to send that pressure down as well. Because I think it's easy for people to be like, but they're not actually pushing down while they're doing that. So you can practice with the rolled towel, both techniques, and you can also practice while you're having a bowel movement. Because when you think about it, when you're pooping, you're sending pressure down towards your pelvic floor in the rectum area, the same way as you're sending pressure down in your pelvic floor when you're pushing a baby. Same area, different hole. And the sign that you're doing it right is that you're gonna feel like your stool is moving a little faster when you're practicing your pushing. So next time you poo, think of me. So now we're going to review the pros and cons for each of these techniques. Like I said, Valsalva tends to be the most instructed technique in the birth room. And the reason why we don't strictly want to go for Valsalva for every possible birth and trying to do that throughout our pushing stage is because it does increase pressure on the pelvic organs, namely the bladder, the rectum, and the uterus. And that can increase the risk of prolapse. So if you don't know what a prolapse is, it's when one of the pelvic organs engages in the vaginal canal after the birth. So that feels like almost like something is hanging in your vagina. So that's one of the things, and tearing is the other one. So excessive Valsalva can lead to more tearing. And in a case of a fast birth, and you know, when things are moving fast, it's like, oh, you just got to the hospital, you're already pushing, and that baby's coming out fast. Using Valsalva is not even necessary in most cases, because that baby is gonna come out anyways, and most of the time just the uterine contractions and breathing that baby out is all you need. However, let's run through the pros of the Valsalva technique, because there's definitely some. It's more powerful, okay? You will get more pressure down. That's why the risk of prolapse is increasing with excessive Valsalva technique, right? So by having more pressure down, that means that if your baby is in a situation where we need to push that baby out quickly because heart rate is not happy or something like that, this is the technique to go for. For bigger babies, you know, babies over 9 pounds, of course, we don't know that while we're pushing them, but sometimes you can have a little bit of an idea if you've had prior ultrasounds that your baby might be on the bigger side. Then Valsalva might be the only way that you could push that baby out. For first-time moms, I do find that they will have to do some Valsalva at some point because the canal has never really gone through this experience before. Now, pros and cons for open glottis. It puts less pressure on your pelvic floor. So we have less risk of prolapse postpartum if we're using this technique. It saves energy quite a bit. You probably felt it in your body, in your face, how exhausting Valsalva pushing can feel. It's also giving you a little bit more control, especially when we're talking about those fast births. The cons are that, well, it's less powerful. So again, in those situations where you might want to have baby out quickly, this might not be the technique to use. It's not well known from most providers, so it requires more advocacy in the birth room. Now, what I actually recommend to my clients is to mix them, right? You don't need to decide, I'm going to do Valsalva or I'm going to do open glottis. You can just mix them up. You can do a few contractions with Valsalva, see what happens. You can then go back to open glottis. There's no right or wrong here, okay? Just go with your gut feeling, what you think is best. And remember that our goal number one is to get that baby out. I'm teaching you the pelvic floor lens so that you can have a variety of tools and also knowledge to make the best informed decisions for your birth. But what I don't want is for people to go into the birth room and just do Valsalva because it's the default, when maybe open glottis would have worked for them, right? And would have protected their pelvic organs better and saved a little bit more their recovery. I know that some physios out there who are like anti-Valsalva, don't do Valsalva. And that used to be me, quite honestly, before I gave birth to both of my boys who were really big. And I understood in my body how powerful Valsalva can be and how useful it can be to allow moms to have those vaginal birth experiences that they're aiming for, right? Because if I had just kept going with my open glottis, I would have gone straight to C-section. Now that you have both techniques, you can go with that baggage, practice them during bowel movement or just like the way we did today so that you feel extra clear, because it's a skill, right? And like any skill, it needs to be practiced. I'm a performer and a musician, and I would have never jumped on stage without having practiced my songs. Of course not. So it's the same thing with this. It's just a skill that you need to practice so that you feel confident when the big day comes. All right, I hope this was helpful. Don't forget that I have my free tearing risk screener in the description below if you want to get helpful insight on your risk of tearing and how to decrease it.